What's up, guys? We are back. Glad to see all of you. I'm glad you guys are here today watching the video. Now, first off, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying home, playing a lot of chess, understanding chess more, having a great time. Life is good here with the Jedi. Now, today we're looking at how to fight against the Maroxzy bind in the accelerated dragon or similar positions, but fighting the Maroxzy bind. That's what we're going over today. So let's get right into it, guys. That's what the black pieces. A lot of people have problems playing against the Maroxzy bind, and we're going to talk about that today. I remember when I had problems against the Maroxzy bind myself, being a Sicilian accelerated dragon player. And in the books that I've studied and things that I've learned from some of my best trainers, was said that the Maroxzy bind has lost his deadly grip. The Maroxzy bind has lost their deadly grip. Now let's check it out. E4, C5, okay? Knight F3, we got G6, the regular stuff. D4 takes, knight takes. Okay, all theory here, we're playing with the black pieces. Knight C6, then you got C4. Now let's understand this move for a little bit. What's going on here? There is a grip, there's a bind here on D5. There's a problem. So if you don't fix this problem, solve this problem, you're going to have long-term issues later. What white wants to do is just build up very nice and slow and have a great position. F3, bishop E3 or G5, bishop to E2, we got B3, knight C3, queen D2, castles, rook to C1s, and kind of just press black and wait for them to do something here. Now, this is a problem for a lot of players. There's two ways to play. I'm going to recommend this first one to you. This is my favorite way. There's actually three ways to play it. I've learned all three, but this one is my favorite that I show you. So after knight to C6, or after C4, we have knight F6. Now, you do have bishop G7, guys. If you are a bishop G7 player, you can play bishop G7, but just know that this is not the, I guess, standard, or this is not the way you should actually play, but you can get away with it. And the problem here, if you don't know what you're doing, why is bishop G7 not the best? Well, let's take a look. Bishop E3, knight F6, right? Knight to C3. Okay, then we have D6 here, and bishop to E2, and then castles. Now this is not the same. This feels a little different here, because we're supposed to take, you have to put your bishop on D7, you have to take this way. The way that you play this is black, if you ever face this, is knight takes, bishop D7, bishop C6, knight D7. So this is the way to play it. If you ever find yourself playing bishop G7, you're kind of just going to be on a waiting game, though. I will say that you are not attacking anything. You're just going to be waiting it out until you figure out something. But here, what I like to play is black. Instead of bishop to G7, is actually I was taught knight to F6. So it forces this knight to come out first, which gives you secondary options. So after knight F6, knight to C3 is the move, and then you have this nice move, D6. D6 is the move. You can't play D5, but D6 instead of bishop to G7. Why? Well, because of this move, bishop to E3. I'll even show you how quickly things can go wrong for white. Knight to G4 is the move here, hitting this bishop. Now, the standard is actually knight takes, but a lot of times you'll see people move this bishop to C1 or even G5 to be a little aggressive here. Pause the video and try to find a move for black here. Now, when you come back to the video, it should be this right here, queen to B6. Whoa, okay, if you move this knight, knight, okay? If you move the knight, have a good knight, okay? It's going to be over. Queen takes F2 is mate. No matter where you move this knight, I don't care what you do with it, checkmate. I've done that many times before. Some people play F3 in this position, which you can play. You can get away with, I mean, many ways. Queen takes B2 is one I've done before, because I'm hitting a rook, the knight. I mean, there's so many things here. I'm also hitting mate. I've done this before, which is pretty fun. Queen takes B2, I'm threatening mate. I'm also threatening this knight too. It's just wild. This is not what white wanted. 1000%. This is not what white wanted when he was playing a Maroxzy bind. So bishop moving is not a move at all. Knight takes, and you're supposed to take care on E3. Knight takes, and it gets very complicated here. Very drawn-like position. If they go C5 and E5, you have bishop G7, sacrificing a pawn. You get draw-like positions, but of course, if they do play the Maroxzy bind, you have to expect that sometimes you will just go into a draw line. That's why you have to have different openings and stuff that you like to play, and alternative, just in case you may go in a draw line like this one. Even though it could be, it's extremely equal there for black. You just have to know what you're doing. So bishop E3 is kind of out of the question unless they're going for the capture line, and it gets kind of weird. Now, with that being said, the move is bishop to E2. This move actually stops knight G4, and it's preparing to castle. It's a very slow kind of play. So what do you do for black? Well, capture first, queen takes, and then bishop to g7. Hitting the queen here indirectly, but we can't actually move this knight unless we go knight h5 or something else. So with that being said, they still castle or play bishop e3, either or. But bishop e3 is a move. You also have bishop g5. You also have queen e3 or queen d3 after bishop g5. Many lines here, many lines. But after bishop to e3, I go castle. And now I'm actually threatening knight to g4. So if they get out of the way here and forget, hey, I'm actually getting a bishop pair. And black's actually slightly better in these lines, especially if you're able to grab a bishop. So after castles, they go queen to d2, which is the standard. Actually, sorry, not castles. After queen d2, we play a move, bishop to e6. You have to develop fast. You want to remember ideas over moves, guys. And the ideas here is to play very dynamic. You have to play dynamic. And with that being said, you have to get the bishop out early. All my pieces are developed. Next is my queen. And I'm going to play on the queen side. Write it down. Do whatever you got to do. Remember that you play on the queen side when it comes to the Maroxzy bind. So after bishop e6, I am indirectly putting a little bit of pressure here, or maybe directly, but not right now because this bishop's defending it. So what I would have to do is like a rook to c8 kind of move. There's a lot of things that can happen. But after bishop to e6, there's castle, that's the standard. Queen to a5. Queen a5 is very nice here, followed by rook f to c8, not rook a to c8. Let's take a look. If knight d5, that is a move, but not the best move. My queen is hit. It's right now. It's directly hit on a5. He's also threatening e7. So if you're playing bullet chess here, please don't take this knight. You have jumped off the deep end all the way down with a smile. This is not the move. You have to take this here. Queen takes, bishop takes, knight takes c4, hitting his bishop, and he could take this, absolutely. Thanks for letting my king get out of the way. The problem is this knight is stuck here. And this is, or not really stuck, it could go back, but I'm threatening this, I'm threatening this. I mean, black is the favorite here, absolutely what we wanted and not what white wanted in these kind of positions. We want activity, and this is exactly what you'll get. So what they do is either b3 or rook a to c1, which I see this a lot, rook to c1 or rook f to c1. Regardless, we play rook f and not rook a, and I'll show you why. If we go rook a to c1, well, the problem is, and actually we'll do f3 right now. f3 because if they go knight d5, this is what they want to do, but again, we get to capture this after capturing on d2. So going back here, after rook a to c8, they go f3 first, and now take a second here. Pause the video. How would you create a little bit more queenside play? Now this is the wrong rook to choose, but the concept stays the same. How do you create some counterplay here on the queen side? The answer is actually a6 and b5. Now in this position, this pawn's actually hanging. So let's go back and do this a little bit differently. After let's go rook a to c. Oops. Let's go rook c1. Rook a to c8. b3 first. And then we're going to play this counterplay move. So instead of f3, guys, let's just go with a6 here. a6 and then f3 and then b5 and knight to d5 happens quite often. Or sometimes in different kind of lines as well. But queen a5, if rook a to c8, or queen a5, let's go b3 anyway. And rook here and then knight f3 maybe. f3, a6, and knight d5. So in this sense, this is one of the perfect examples where everything's defended, guys. Everything's defended. And you can't take this one, you can't take this one. The queen is exposed. You have to do something about it. So with that being said, we're going to take it. But we have this in-between intermezzo move, Zwischenzug, knight takes e7, check. In-between move here. I'm going to capture this queen after I take your pawn with check. Now the problem is I have to go here, and then after taking, I just have to move my rook, and I go right back to civilization like nothing happened. Particularly in this position, though, you actually have a nice little tactic here, but it's not the best, of course, with this being weak. And it's problems. I will say that there are problems. There are some problems we do have to face and answer here. With that being said, there are many lines and many problems that you can run into if you move this rook, because you have to watch out for knight d5. This rook is not the answer. How about the other rook? Well, bishop to e6, castles, queen a5, rook c1, rook f to c, b3, and then a6. So if we go a6, knight d5 is a little bit different now. After takes, now of course we can't take this, but for teaching purposes, knight takes e7, or let's just do like, let's do, I don't know, maybe a5. Put the pawn here, right? So knight, and then maybe rook b8. But knight takes e7. Knight takes e7 is the legit thing that's going to happen. And after knight takes e7, you have king f8. So, and actually, sorry, going back here, you have king to f8 after queen takes right here. Rook f to c8. Rook f c8, knight d5, queen takes, knight takes e7. This is what we're looking for. After knight takes e7, there's king f8. And now after capturing your queen back that you have to do, I now take this knight. We do a quick piece count here. We are up a full piece. We are up a full piece here because we chose to use the F rook and not the A rook. 1000% super important. So make sure you do the F rook and not the A rook every single time. Not to mention everything's on the queen side. So this rook actually helps defend this, helps in the A6, B5. There are some lines that actually the rook is able to capture on A2 in some cases after playing A6 and B5. Rook after C8, B3, A6, F3, B5. There it is. Whoa. B5, it's about to get crazy. One of my favorite moves here. I'm able to blitz this out in literally milliseconds because I know how to crush this. Now B5, we are in the driver's seat right now. This pawn is actually hanging here. Knight D5 is one of the best moves, and you just have to go for this kind of position. You have to go for this position as white, because other than that, black has a very good game. Usually they take with the C pawn here. There's a check on D4. Why do you check on D4? This is a deeper understanding of chess, because you're about to go into an endgame, and you want this king to be as far away from the center as possible. With that being said, the check is an in-between move. Zug, intermezzo, king H1. Then we move the bishop back to D7. Rook takes, rook takes, rook to C1, rook takes C1, rook takes C1, and we have E6 to follow. And we just have an easy endgame here where it's completely equal. And a lot of times you'll be surprised. Black is able to make good progress here, sometimes by even walking the king all the way over this way. Insane. Doesn't even make sense, but it does at the same time. A lot of things can happen here. Black has a great game. Also, if you end up taking this, like for instance, maybe G3, takes. This pawn's now weak. Yeah, this one is too, but we can get around a little bit quicker due to us being able to play F5. There's just so many tricks. You can also come away the back way this way, try to bully these pawns. There's stuff that can happen. You need to be on your P's and Q's here, and black is doing just fine in an equal position. Now, my best part, my favorite to watch is when they take on B5. When they take on B5, we take back. You cannot, you should not. I hope they do, though, take this pawn. If they do, it's knight takes B5 or bishop takes. Let's look at the worst one first. Bishop takes B5. Pause the video. Can you find a move on why this is just a straight up blunder? That's not a move. Send a stretcher. Have a good day. The move is actually rook takes C3, eliminating the defender. They call that removing the defender of the B5 square. After rook or queen takes, doesn't matter. I don't care how you do it. Rook takes, queen takes B5. I am winning a piece here, and now I'm up a piece, which is great. I'm up a piece. Even though I'm down the exchange, quotation marks in a way, I am clearly up a piece in that line. Now, this one is the other one, which is knight takes B5. After knight takes B5, what do you think you should do? There's a lot of stuff. I mean, you got pressure here, you got pressure here, you got pressure here. I used to take on A2 until I figured out this is the best line. Queen takes D2. I remember playing an international master in a blitz game, and I took on D2. He took on C8. I took on C8 with the bishop, not the rook, because I want to take this. He took this. I played rook takes A2. He played rook D1, and I played bishop E6. And oh my goodness, he's in a lot of trouble already. He's in a lot of trouble here. And if this pawn falls, then this falls, because the bishops are just they're scary looking. I think bishop C4 is the only move. And what does the engine say to do here again? Takes knight D7. Okay, so it's takes knight D7. Takes knight D7, which is a standard move here. Knight to C5. We have the 7th rank. We just calling the shots here. You prefer it to be black in this position. So guys, let's go back again and look at this from the jump, from the top. Here we go. E4, C5. Knight F3, G6, D4, takes, knight to C6, C4. Not bishop G7. It's actually knight F6 first, because you want to force him to play knight to C3 instead for the first move. D6 to meet bishop E3 with knight to G4 if he chooses to do so. Bishop E3, knight G4. But if he doesn't go, then he can go bishop E2, which is the standard. Takes, bishop G7, castles. It's almost the same, guys, for every single line. No matter, and it's actually queen D2. No matter what they're doing or how they play the Maroxzy bind, 9 times out of 10, guys, 9 times out of 10, you're going to play queen A5, rook, not this, you're going to play queen A5, you're going to play rook after C8, and even no matter what they do, almost rook B1's a little different, because that's like usually GMs, grandmasters I've seen play rook B1 and B4, and I have a line for that too. But the difference is you play rook after C8 first, rook after C8, And it doesn't matter how they do it. Rook F to C8 is the move. A6, B5 to follow. No matter what they're doing, you're going to play in this manner 9 times out of 10. There are certain ones that are a little bit different, like in the F3. If they go F3, I'll actually show you this really fast. If they go F3, knight F6, knight C3, D6, bishop E2, knight takes, queen takes, bishop G7, and actually no, sorry, is it here? It's actually not. It's actually right here. They play F3 right here. F3, knight takes, queen takes. It's a little bit different. A little bit different here. Bishop E3, castles, queen D2. You go A5 this one. A5 followed by A4. Then bishop E6 and queen A5, because you get a little bit more space due to the fact that they played an early F3. That's a little bit different, but more or less the same thing for every other line, guys. You're going to play the Maroxzy bind with this manner. You're going to take on D4, follow up with bishop G7, castle, get out of the way. Okay, he's supposed to play queen to D2. After queen D2, we develop our bishop to E6, get it off the back rank. He castles, queen A5. It doesn't matter what they do. Even if they go rook C1 sometimes they won't castle, they'll play F3 first. Then you go queen A5, they'll go like rook C1, rook F to C8, B3, castles, okay, or B3, A6, castles, B5. We are there. Once again, same position kind of way, and black is in the driver's seat, guys. This is how you play against the against the Maroxzy bind. This is how you play the accelerated dragon against the Maroxzy bind, guys. So that's today's lesson. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you catch when we go live and post new videos and stuff like that. Thank you so much for hanging out here today. Check out the membership site and all the other stuff, and the links in the description. I will see you guys on the next video, and thank you so much for hanging out with us today. See ya. We in here.